Hey friends, welcome back to the Guitar Max channel, and this video is definitely not sponsored by Marshall. Or is it? No, it's not, because this amp is broken actually, and they probably don't want me talking about it. But I'm gonna do it anyway. So if you guys have been watching the channel for a while, you have probably seen this amplifier in the background. This is a Marshall DSL20HR, and it was part of Marshall's big push a few years ago to reissue the dual super lead heads. So they remade the DSL in the classic 100 watt and 50 watt heads, but then they went ahead and made some like 20 watt versions like this and some combo amps. It was gonna be dual super leads for everybody. And this is a very cool amp when it works. And that brings us to the theme of this video. This amplifier has a couple of problems with it. There's a couple things that are broken, that are defective. But despite that, I still love this amplifier and I can't bring myself to get rid of it. Okay, so let me go over the general specs of the amplifier and then I'm gonna explain specifically what is broken on this amp. So this is a 20 watt all-tube guitar amp with ECC83 tubes in the preamp and then EL34s in the power amp section. It's essentially a two-channel amplifier, but with a shared, like, global EQ, and then some overall global controls for the resonance and built-in reverb. It's a very straightforward amplifier, and it definitely nails the classic Marshall tones, especially the higher gain stuff. Now, this amp sells for around $800, and the price wasn't always that high. I think when they first came out, they were down around $500. So the prices have gone up considerably, like everything else has in the past few years. Now this amp has an effects loop, and it also has a foot switch input and a super cool speaker emulated output, which you can use for recording or running direct into a mixing board or PA. It's a nice modern bonus in an otherwise classic amp. And that brings us to the part of the amplifier that is broken. The emulated output and the effects loop. They're kind of messed up. They almost work, but they definitely don't work in the way that they are supposed to. What happens is when you have something plugged into the effects loop, the gain control on the amplifier actually controls the effects loop mix. The gain also controls the output level of the emulated output, but it simultaneously controls the gain. It's still the gain control. So if you're trying to use that emulated output, you can get a very clean, very quiet signal when the gain control is down, or you can get a very loud and distorted output signal when the gain control is up. And it's normally so loud that you can't even run it into anything. It'll just be clipping no matter what. And if you're using the emulated output and the effects loop, then you're also screwing with the level, like the mix control, like the percentage mix of how much effects go into the output. It's terrible, and it's really frustrating to try and use that. Now, just to be clear, it's not supposed to work that way. You are supposed to be able to adjust the gain and the output level independently with a consistent mix in the effects loop. Okay, so those are the problems that the amplifier has, but the tone of the amplifier is still fantastic. And I want you guys to hear that. So take a listen to how it sounds, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about why I like the amplifier so much despite those problems, okay? Now, real quick, guys, as always, if you enjoy videos like this, checking out cool guitar gear and also staying up on all the latest news in the guitar universe, and you have not already subscribed, please consider subscribing right now. Okay, let's get this plugged in. I'm gonna use the amp and then my EART T380 guitar for the demo. Let's listen to how this thing sounds. Okay guys, so this amp has the sound that I love. If you want to grab your guitar, throw it in the back of your IROC Camaro, blast down Sunset Boulevard, and blow the doors off the Whiskey A Go-Go, this is the perfect amp for that. Now honestly, I would love this amp a lot more if those features worked, but the way it is now, it's basically just a very classic 20-watt Marshall amplifier. No effects loop, no emulated output, no modern features. And as much as I love all that stuff, like I've got my Rev G20 back here, which has this, this huge array of different emulated IRs that you can use and stuff for recording. I love that thing, it works great. As much as I love those modern features, loads and loads of incredible recordings. Some of my favorite recordings and favorite songs were made with a classic, very basic, simple amplifier like this. Also, it looks very cool, and because it's a 20-watt head, it doesn't take up very much space. In the space that a 100-watt head would take up, I can have this 20-watt head plus my Himalayan salt lamp, link in the description. Now, normally, I would say you can pick up these heads on the used market for a great price, but if you want to get one of these, don't get a used one. I would encourage you to get a new one, because my understanding is the first few months or maybe first year of production of this amplifier, a lot of these amplifiers had this exact problem. So you're definitely better off buying a new unit with a warranty. And that's kind of the issue with this amp for me at this point, because this amp is a few years old, it's out of warranty, and it's not a real expensive amp. So it's kind of one of those things where I'm not like a DIY amp guy, especially when it comes to tube amps. So to get this fixed, I would have to have, I'd have to pay someone else to do it. And the amount that would cost me, it kind of like I'm never going to get that money back if I sell the amp. So it's kind of not really worth it. If you combine what I paid for this amp when I bought it used with what I would spend to fix it, that together is going to be more than just getting a new amp. So for now, I'm going to hold on to it and continue entertaining my neighbors with the sweet sound of a Marshall amp. Okay guys, let me know what you think of this amplifier down in the video description below. Let me know what you think of the tone, and if there's anybody else out there that owns one of these amps, did you have the same problem I'm having? Did you find a way to fix it? What happened? Let me know. Okay guys, as usual, I'm going to have links for everything I was talking about in the video down in the video description below. I will have a link for a new version, the new amplifier, and also a link for that EART T380 that I was using in the demo, plus all of my social media and instructional videos, all that stuff. Guys, thanks a ton for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will talk to you very soon.